Right, welcome. So in this video, I just want to show some Python code that I use to show an example of client-server communication. So for those of you that are interested, here is the code. It is available on my GitHub. You can find that repository or the link to it in the comments of this video, but there's the client, there's the server. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. Let me show, let me get this out of the way. There we go. So here we have the client and the server. And what's going to happen here is the client is going to initiate the connection. Then the server will respond. And I show this in later videos, later code, show everything that happens in this connection. But this is the TCP three-way handshake. We're going to leave that out of this video and this example for now. But after the connection, then the client will send a request to the server, and then the server will respond with its answer, and then we're all set. So let me show you a little how this works. So over on the right here, I have the server. I'm going to run the code here. And as you can see, it says server started. Now it's asking what TCP port this server will listen on. We talk about port numbers and things in my classes and in other videos and stuff. For right now, I'm going to put 65,000. Okay, hit enter. Now, this server right now is listening on, well, it has the IP address 10.0.0.129. That's its IP address. And this is the port number it's listening on, 65,000, okay, for this application. All right, that means anybody that wants to connect to it at this IP address and with this TCP port number, it will respond. So let's go over here to our client. And our client is waiting for us to give it the IP address of the server that we want to connect to. Now, this could be the IP address of Amazon, Google, Instagram, whatever. And normally, of course, we don't actually have, as users, we don't type in IP addresses. Our DNS server would resolve the name, like www.amazon.com, to the IP address for us. But keeping this nice and simple, we know that the IP address we want to connect to is right here, 10.0.0.129. So let's put that in. Next, it's going to ask, what TCP port number on this server do we want to connect to? Now, once again, we'll learn in other parts of my courses and videos and that. But typically when you're on a web browser, what it's connecting to is, or the port number it's connecting to is port 443. That's when you're using HTTPS. Okay, so you don't have to know that or put that in, just like we didn't have to put in the IP address. But in this little example, I want to show that, that the two things that are required here is the IP address and the port number. It's just that as users, we don't normally have to put any of that in. So I'm going to put the port number that the server is listening on for this specific application. There we go, 65,000. And now it says, okay, great. I'm the client, and I'm all ready to connect to the server at its IP address, 10.0.0.129, and the port it's listening on, 65,000. So let's press return to make a connection to that server. So watch what happens when I press enter here, and also notice what happens over here. That connection is going to be established. It says connection made with the server. You can see that here. It says, hey, a connection has been made with a client. Okay, now the server can have connections with many clients. Okay, so it continues to listen on this port number, 65,000, for other clients that may want to initiate a conversation with it. So right now it says, okay, great. We've got this connection. That's what we see up here. This is known, by the way, as the TCP three-way handshake. And once again, I'll talk about that more in later videos. All right, keeping it nice and simple. We're over here back to the client. it says press return to send a request for information to the server. So that's where the client is going to send a request. And here's our request. I've got this all hard coded, meaning it's all programmed in already. So it's going to ask, what was your favorite class in school? I'm going to hit enter. And you can see here it says request sent. But let's go over to the server. The server sees that, hey, I just received a request from the client. Request, what was your favorite class in school? So we're back over to here to the server. So let me click on that window. And it says, press return to send my response. My favorite class was Introduction to Networking. Isn't that funny? Is that one of the classes I teach? All right. So I'm going to hit enter here, and we're going to send this information back to the client. Again, all we're showing is a request and response. So let's hit enter here. I'm at the server. I'm going to hit enter, and it says response sent. Over here, the client says, hey, I just received a response from the server. It says, my favorite class was Introduction to Networking. At this point here, the connection is closed. That's what I did in the Python code, was close the connection automatically after the response was sent and received. All right. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's really meant as just begin to look at client-server interaction. We'll be looking at this in a lot more detail later in my classes, typically my introduction to networking class, where we'll talk about all of these things and much, much more. Hope you enjoyed the video.